Hi everybody, this is Cast with Players Only. Just going to walk through some things I'm seeing with Wyatt Chochrek so he can go home and review some of the stuff that we talked about today. So, just to point out the upper half again, he's here very early with his arms. Okay, so most guys when they're at this position, okay, they would be right here with their body. So their body would be here as far as their lower half and where they are down the mound when their arms are in this position. So when we look like this, we should be much farther down the mound. Okay, so if we look at Wyatt's back leg right here, oh, I gotta use a different line. If we look at from ankle to knee, is very up and down. Okay? So he has separated his arms, he's throwing his front leg out in front of him, and he has not gone forward. Okay, so where we see an issue now, and this is the first thing that I talked to him about, is we look at his upper half now. Okay, so his arms were there way too soon, so they continued to rise. So if we look at the angle of his back arm right now, much higher than his shoulder. Okay, this angle should be something like this right now. Okay, relative to his shoulders. Okay, so we can see if we draw this line parallel with his shoulders, his elbow specifically is much higher than that. Our hand will be above our shoulders, obviously, but our elbow should not get that high because what it has to do then is come down. So right now it comes down and gets into his arm whip or external rotation much too late. So we can see that his arm is barely starting to whip right now. When it goes into external rotation or whip, his shoulders are already facing home. Okay, so he's going, this is maximum external rotation right now. So his arm is laid straight back right now, and the ball should be out of his hand at this point. Okay, so being that he got there way too early with his arms, he's actually late in how his arm reacts. Okay, so let's back up and watch our legs. Okay, so I talked to many of the kids that I work with about as we lift our leg, we need to be going forward. Okay, so let's say Wyatt just comes up like this. Okay, good. He's in a balance point. We know that this is coached all the time. Before I forget this, because I'm just noticing this foot right now, pointed up, this is very tight. I mean, I don't necessarily know this by just looking at it, but I felt it today. His leg is very tight. This needs to be loose. We're just lifting from our hip right here when we lift our leg. So we should not be tight as we lift in this area. Okay, complete side note. But like I was saying, he needs to be going forward now. Okay, so he's going, his leg goes down, his arms are separating. If he was going forward while he was doing this, this would be good. But he has gone nowhere. So he's separating, he's going down. He doesn't start to actually go out until right about here. Now we see his back leg in a position to drive forward. But being that everything else is way too early, we get little out of it. Okay? So he hasn't gone forward. He really didn't go forward back here. So now when he actually does go forward, boom, this is his foot touching the ground, this is plant. Look at his back leg. Okay, it's in a linear angle, but we can see his laces and we can see his knee. Those should be pointed straight down. So his shoulders right now are going to turn ahead. His shoulders are turning his hips. And it should be our hips turning our shoulders. Okay, it makes it very difficult for him to do that because he doesn't get his body going forward early. Okay, so as we lift our leg, we should be going forward right now. So the angle of his body, he should have his head